All right, folks, welcome back. We've got Rex Regalis versus SEAL Team Chris coming at you right about now. I am your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster, Sharo, again, joined by the one and only Found. So after that last game, which was pretty hyped towards the end, this one's going to be intense, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And STC, these guys, man. I'm just so hyped that thing because if you notice the rosters, the Tiger Heart is now in the top lane. These guys are literally the most retro players. I know everyone doesn't know the backstory on all these people, but it's so good to see them all back, and I hope they manage to pull out a solid game.
Burst Limit and Trulax coaching. It's kind of interesting, although I have been accused of sleeping on Rex Regalis. I want it known. I have said they have the best macro in this league, and they are doing fantastically. And I think that they are definitely a contender at this point, being 6-1. I think that their games against INT are going to be super hype. I am looking forward to it. And then we've already got Joshi hopping onto the Gnar. This game is already over for STC, I think.
Oh my god. We gotta, as the same, both casters are going to be as impartial as possible. We do not have a preference on who wins, but frankly, we will give credit where it's due. Rex Regalis has been immaculate so far. Joshi has been an extreme performer, and frankly, I think they have the best support in the league in Why You Know Doctor. So it's not, if they are already off to a good footing, and SEAL Team Chris has obviously struggled and have been less of the SEAL and more of the Chris. So they need to do a lot better to try to improve. I do have faith in them. I think if they are going to pick up a really big win, this is their opportunity.
It is going to be a uphill battle for sure, though. Why You Know Doctor, like you said, definitely very high up on there. You let him get Thresh, you're basically giving over the game to them. So by taking that away right away, very smart play. But you're already letting Mr. Chunks get a Varus. Varus is probably my favorite ADC. I think that in every meta, he's been exceptionally strong. A good counter pick is the Ezreal, though, because it will allow you to have a lot of escapes, allow you to avoid those arrows. However, overall, you've got so much lockdown already with Amumu and Gnar that the Varus is just going to be able to get these free shots off anytime he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. And people often forget about how the chain of corruptions work. Other than the initial CC on the first target, if you're CC'd in an AoE setting, the chain of corruption will spread to multiple targets. So this is a massive amount of CC already collected up in the first 3 picks. And honestly, I think SEAL Team Chris did provide themselves with a good response. Ezreal is going to be quite safe. Nami can play quite far back in the team fights, and the wave has a massive distance on it. So, as far as the safety is there, I do believe they do have some avenues to outplay.
Yep, getting rid of the Leona and the Zoe as well. Good bans against Why You Know Doctor and Zen Zen. We already see that. The thing is, though, I think that they have banned out Leona in error, because I do not believe this is an Amumu jungle. This is going to be an Amumu support. Why You Know Doctor is going to be absolutely terrifying on this thing. It is going to be just a nightmare, which means that they have left Rafa unbanned, essentially. They took away his Viego, but that's just one of many.
One of many.
One of many. I expect we'll see like a Zen Zhao or something like that picked out in this game.
I mean, that is probably going to be the most likely option, but I have heard the Amumu support tech, other than in FOF, there has been some rumblings of it in China and Korea also, that people are trying to try it out. Apparently, Amumu does have a massive amount of CC. He would still add laner. So
we've seen it. He pulled out a couple of times here to great success in the FFS.
Okay, so I do have faith in it, but honestly, I'm going to go in as not a believer, so that is going to be Why You Know Doctor going to have to prove to me that it's good. And I do think he would be the guy to pull it out and have a massive performance, and I'd be like, well, maybe Amumu support is something that I need to try.
It is definitely something you should give a shot. You allow yourself to build up those extra roots, and it's just getting absolutely disgusting. Zen Zen bringing out the Vel'Koz. We're getting a life form disintegration ray this game, and that is going to just absolutely shred through SEAL Team Chris's comp. Like, you just look at this. You've got Nami, Ezreal, Orianna. 3 champions that will not be able to survive that ray, and they will just get absolutely shredded as soon as they get jumped on.
Yeah, absolutely. Zenzen picking a pick into Songo that does very well playing his ranges. If Vel'Koz stays at max range, then Orianna can really never touch him. But if you do play Orianna quite well with how much move speed and utility she has, she can easily punish a Vel'Koz who has very little mobility, basically none built into the kit except for that E for a little bit of displacement. So I do think this matchup is relatively even, but yes, it's really nice to see Zen pull out this more poke heavy pick, especially with Varus already being drafted up.
I think we have proven that the way you beat an Orianna is you hit her when she can't hit you. You use geometry or you use just brute force to just send a ball flying into her face. And with these last two picks, we've got both of our junglers picked up. We've got the Graves and the Jarvan going against each other, which means that it probably will be an Amumu support unless we're getting some kind of crazy double ADC bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. So while Doctor is most likely going to be taking that Amumu, this is going to be my opportunity to see how good it is. Frankly, it does seem to be it does have quite a lot of options. The Q cooldown, having that double charge, is very big buff in that avenue.
It is, and so with that, where do you think that you're leaning? Because I already know, I think that the Tyrannosaurus Rex is just going to start eating some faces in this game.
I think for this game, because of my own personal bias, I'm gonna be like, I'm obligated by the state not to give an answer. But if I would give one, I believe that I gotta give some support to the Amumu. So Rescue Regalis is gonna take this one.
All right, so now we're going to hop down onto the riff. We've already got the question marky frog ready to go. We've got the sneaky deaky plays coming out of Rex Regalis. I love how they're just always going for these 5-man invade cops. They're going to put the pressure on early. They're just going to go straight on into it. They don't care if they walk over a ward.
I feel really intelligent to get that ward down. Going to spot the blue pickup. So if Trulax does try to go into that avenue, they are going to be spotted for quite a long time. Jarvan does not have that many versatile clears unless he's going to go for a level 2, which means you would have to start red if you're going to look for that. So,
ooh, got some psychic powers going on there, do we?
Yep, smart bush checking with the Vel'Koz Q. Going to punish the Tiger Heart for standing so aggressive, and the Narq. We will give both of them credit.
They will. So with that, I think we're probably going to see both these teams. They're just kind of been like, okay, we've sussed each other out. We've seen what each other can do. We kind of have an idea of what you're doing. And Rex is just like, we'll let you go. We'll let you go for now.
Absolutely. They will allow some safe passage just for the moment's notice. Once again, we're going to have both junglers who are going to be pathing onto this bot side. They will be meet at the crab at relatively the same time. It's going to be interesting to see if Graves is going to go for a full clear, because full clear on Graves has fallen a little bit out of favor. He is a very fast clear on the single target camp, so him just looking for an invade onto the enemy Gromp is the most common avenue that we've been seeing. But frankly, I think this bot lane is going to be where most of the action is going to be coming early.
And starting in the top lane means he's going to be finishing his clear down in the bot lane, ready for that extra engage. He's going to be ready for the Doctor to be hitting those bandage tosses. And it's just, they honestly have way more range than you expect them to. And just look at that, already getting one off, getting a nice hit in there. They don't have the level 2 advantage. Doesn't really matter those. You've got the double Q hit. Ignite's going to come out, and Gohan is going to go down. And that is going to be an easy pickup on the first blood for Mr. Chunks.
I'm just stunned. That just looked... that looked
you were
really
stunned?
Abusive. Yeah.
The bandage toss stunned you, my friend?
Absolutely, and so was Gohan. Gee, I don't know what can I say. It looks like it's better than I thought it would be, but geez.
There you go. Kill. That is why the Amumu support is so deadly. It's not so much the damage it's going to do. It's the fact that you can't move. It's like a level 2 or level 3 Morgana Q at level 1.
And I mean, it's the issue is it is going to be blocked by minions. So, but I do think Amumu Q has quite a long range on it.
Nice bit of damage, Joshi, getting some good poke onto the Tiger Heart, showing him who's boss.
Yeah, the big Gnar. This matchup is miserable, honestly, for the side of the Ornn. I don't think that he has much avenues to punish the Gnar, and giving Gnar a free lane can be quite concerning. But yeah, let's see if Trulax is going to be able to give his bot lane some reprieve, because they are going to need to get some form of of suffering, but that's going to be Trulax getting zoned off this crowd.
The anticipation by Rex Regalis right there. They knew that Graves was going to be looking for a gank in the bot lane once they got that level 1 first blood, and Graves was already pathing their way in that direction. Moves out into the river. Amumu's already moving up the river when they notice him there. So that means that Trulax is basically just caught out to give up Scuttle. There's no way he can contest, so he's trying to move to the top side. But what do you know? Rex Regalis is like, hey, he wants top Scuttle. How about no, that one's ours.
Yeah, it looks like the way that Trulax is pathing, he is going to manage to secure it, but you can see it's really hard for this Jarvan so far, because but he's not going to even get it. Oh, this is so sad for Trulax.
He's not going to get it. That's going to be a double Scuttle over for the T-Rexes.
Yeah, for all the jungle mains out there, you just feel Trulex's pain. He doesn't have priority in a single lane. Basically, every time he walks into the river, the mid laner and the top laner are both moving, and the bot side in the opposite direction. So, oh, this is quite depressing for how well.
Oh, you know
jungle's
what's
been doing
even
for
worse?
Amazon.
Look at where Rafa is right now. He's sitting over on Raptors. He's already starting to steal the rest of the camps, and so that is going to be even more gold just yoinked out of Jarvan's pocket before he even realizes what's happened.
Yeah, the second respawn on the Raptors, a lot of XP taken up, and geez, it's only going to get rougher because the ability to have all this SS Sungo is going to get pressured.
Rafa getting a nice engage on STC Songo. Songo getting caught out, but he's not going to be able to go down. He's not going to go down, which is good. Zen missing the shot just a little bit, but not quite. And we got a fight here in the top lane. Joshi getting a nice boomerang toss onto the Tiger Heart. Proc getting that the 3-hit passive, which you know Jin absolutely hates, by the way. He hates them with a passion. There's not enough shots.
I mean, you're only allowed to have 4. Everything must be 4 now.
It must be 4. It must be 4. Look at this. Joshi getting caught out. He's going to flash away. Just make sure he doesn't give up first blood or doesn't give up a kill. Smart play. Good flash. That is going to be flashed down for him. He does have the TP up, so he could come back pretty quickly if he wanted to. His wave is going to be pushed into him, though, so that's to his advantage. Going to pick up that. What? Did you see that?
What I missed? What happened?
The boomerang. How did the boomerang miss? I am just shocked at that.
It's bugged. Who knows? Spaghetti code, you know.
Yeah,
200 years of
it was just that slightly odd angle. But that is going to be a win Drake picked up really quickly. And with these two teams, I believe that we're going to be seeing an Infernal Soul coming up. Oh, sorry. I was wrong. I didn't read them quickly enough. It's going to be an Ocean Drake, so...
All right, so once again, it's going to be me taking the opposite. I think it's going to be a mountain. So we will see who is going to be right yet again. Support us in the chat, man, because I cannot be wrong 2 games in a row, right? Right?
You could be. I don't think you will be, though.
I hope, please, God, let it not be. I won't think I'll hear the end of it from Chris if I'm wrong again.
Yep. Ooh, nice bubble out of Lightning Soul getting Mr. Chunks up in the air, but it's not going to matter. That doesn't do a lot of damage. So we've got the bot lane pushed up right now. Jarvan's going to see a good opportunity to gank here, but this wave is going to bounce back towards just a little bit off the edge. We already see that Vel'Koz might be roaming down. The TP is going to come out from the Tiger Heart in order to Magi Joshi, so that push is going to get kind of negated. They're going to go back to their lane state. Going to be kind of interesting how things play out here.
Yeah, and Trulex is in a position where he basically is forced to make a play because he's falling really far behind in CS. He's going to be behind in levels. He needs to do something on the map because all of his lanes are losing at this point. So it's basically him picking the option of which lane he's going to try to punish, but there's not really any good options, and it looks like he's going to be looking for the bot lane, as why, you know, Doctor is going to stun up a minion.
He is going to look in the direction of bot lane, but this wave is already pushing back underneath Rex's tower. They are safe from a gank because there's no way that Trulex is ready to start tower diving. That's going to work out really well in Rex's favor. In the meantime, we see that Zen has pushed up a little bit, but he's on the safe side of that. He already knows that he's got to have this Jarvan coming up behind him, though. Could be seeing a nice jump on him. We have a nice fight going on here in the bot lane as well. Bandage Toss going to go out. We see Lightning Soul getting taken for a little bit of a ride. Damage from that piercing shot, doing a lot of damage. Why, you know, Doctor Flash putting it in, getting the root, and that is going to be a nice bit of damage, sacrificing the chain of corruption coming out from Mr. Chunks as well. He's gonna miss the Lightning Soul piercing arrow, so he doesn't manage to pick up that kill. That was beautifully played by Why You Know Doctor. He knew he wasn't getting out, so he just sacrificed his life to make sure a kill was secured.
Yeah, and even sad for this Azrael that he's not going to even get the kill picked up, so that CS disadvantage that Varus had already managed to open up is only going to be exacerbated. And it's good that the gold went over to somebody. Lightning Soul did pick up the kill, but Nami is not the best user of early gold, so jeez, you just want the STC to find some good avenues in, but they have not been able to so far. And even a 2v2 that was almost going into their favor was still turned around by some good play by Why You Know Doctor.
It definitely was. Why You Know Doctor already getting some good board clearing going. He's got 6 vision score right now. Getting rid of all of these little extra control wards, it makes a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. Just basically darkens the map so much for your opponent. Meantime, Joshi up here in the top lane, getting a nice CS lead on top of this Tiger Heart. And I think that's just pretty much each of these lanes are just going to start growing larger and larger and larger for Rex Regalis.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're True Lax, this is a jungle nightmare. This is absolutely what you do not want to see. All of your lanes are
That you
losing.
don't. Look at this nice stun coming up from Joshi, throwing the goat into the wall, getting a decent amount of damage off. Isn't able to pick up a kill, but that's perfectly okay.
And as I was saying, there's not a lane that you can safely gank. If you get counter ganked by Graves, you're going to die for sure and most likely lose the game off that one play alone. Let's see if there's going to be any intelligent interactions with True Lux. He's going to need to do something. He's going to have to bail out somebody because these lanes are going to only get more higher CS advantages. And frankly, I think the best option is probably going to be this mid, as Zinzin is the most vulnerable.
As of right now, if I were STC, my goal as the jungler would be saying, okay, guys, look, just farm as best you can, farm as safely as you can. We've got to let ourselves scale up, and then we're just going to start goon squatting, walking around as a 5-man, because that's really going to be the only option you've got.
Yeah, and frankly, this is something that Rex Regalis has done better than any other team in the league. They are extremely solid laners, punish mistakes quite heavily, and they do manage to use their mid game to make sure they're still consistently accruing advantages and they don't stall out as heavy as some of the other teams. So, with Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, this is probably going to be an easy secure, and we will find out which rift we're going to have as soon as this is taken.
Rafa laughing himself crazy as he just knows that we've got Jarvan walking into this, gets blinded almost immediately, rooted as well. He's just going to get completely shredded. There's nothing he can do. Why, Doctor knows he's going down, but it's okay. Tide Caller comes out, but that's going to be a flash to avoid the knockup. We got Vel'Koz getting a nice tectonic disruption, and the Lifeform Disintegration Ray picks up a kill. Mr. Chunks goes on a killing spree, and that is going to be Rafa chasing down this fish. He wants some sushi tonight. Oh, but look at that. It's going to be the burn that has to get him the kill.
Yep, Rafa's eating good as he's going to collect up the Nami, who's unable to get away, secure the dragon, getting extremely happy with everything that's just going over in the side of Rex Regalis. Other than Doctor, who did unfortunately die. This is now a 3-0 Varus, who has gotten a lot of gold and is on a tear so far with these arrows. So, Rex Regalis getting off to an immaculate start yet again.
Yep, and it is an Ocean Soul coming onto the map. Tiger Heart taking a decent amount of damage. The Oran Horn comes out. They want to get Joshi. They want to get some revenge on this. Joshi's just going to be able to dodge that, though. Even though he's big Mega Gnar, it doesn't really matter. He's able to get himself through those small spaces.
Jeez, how am I wrong again? What is happening? It's 50% chance.
That's because you believe it's a random chance. It's not a random chance. It's all based on team comp. I've been saying this over and over. You just got to look at what each team has.
I honestly think that Riot has programmed that in there somewhere because it really doesn't feel like a random chance. Have you seen how often Cloud Soul is solely getting competitive?
I don't know if they actually change it to be like that in competitive based off champ select, but it could very well be. So essentially what I've kind of discovered is that the tankier your team is, the more likely you are to get a Mountain Soul. The more damage heavy your team is, the more likely you are to get Infernal. If you have champions like Vayne, Jinx, or Jhin, it's naturally going to give you something that will be more to your advantage. Nice bandage toss, catching the edge of that lollipop and getting right there. The second stun coming out. That right there is the danger of an Amumu support, is they're just going to chase it down. Why, Doctor picking up the kill just to make sure that it gets secured. It's not a kill steal. And that's going to be the Rift Herald taken as well. I'm sorry, I didn't notice that was taken earlier. That's going to be a nice set of plates. TP coming out. Joshi is going to have to come here and stop the Rift Herald from actually finishing off mid-turret. But that was really well done in response by STC.
Oh, Sungo is spotted, so while Doctor does know he's there. And now Orianna is going to have the job of clearing. But
he's that Joshi getting a nice knockback, getting a nice stun as he just smacks him down. Live from Disintegration Ray finishes it off. But Joshi picks himself yet another kill. I'm pretty sure that was through the minions. But still, that is poor Vel'Koz. Keeps trying to learn himself some info about these champs, and it just keeps getting taken away from him.
Yeah, taken away is definitely the example we're looking for because it's rough. And now the Tiger Heart is going to have a rough time as he's going to try to
Tiger Heart. Ooh, why Doctor thinking that Tiger Heart was going to keep on walking, but just a little bit off his anticipation game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dash from Ornn is unstoppable, so he just would have been dragged to the end with Ornn and Joshi. He doesn't have much to follow up. So the Tiger Heart probably would have gotten away anyway, but you can see how much pressure this Mumu has been putting on the map, constantly moving, constantly trying to punish these plays. And there just hasn't been an avenue in. True Lax has been behind all game. His lanes have been behind. This is really, really rough if you're going to tell me what you can actually do to come back in.
It's going to be definitely very tricky. I feel like Joshi easily going to be able to pick up this top turret if he really wants to, but he's just going to go ahead back.
Actually, you want to know something really impressive about this game?
What?
Is this FOS is officially the world's preview. This is exactly what LNG versus 100 Thieves is going to look like.
You know, it very well could be, considering that we got ourselves some Academy casters in the mix. They might be privy to some secret strategies, so that could be exactly this build that we have over here on their side for Rex Regalis. In the meantime, though, I want to talk more about this game, but I feel like it's very heavily in the hand of Rex Regalis. They've got themselves a 6k gold lead. They don't have to worry about pulling off some crazy plays. They're just going to play this out, and they've essentially got this game in the bag at this point.
Yeah, frankly, anything that we could say is going to be counteracted by. There is some options. You could come back in this way. You come back in that way, but the deficit is really quite large as Pause Chan has come in. So now we're going to see how long this is going to be and exactly what is the issue that's going to be delaying the game.
We're currently finding that out. In the meantime, let's I see you having some top laner issues. They're having to restart the PC, get their internet back. Hopefully they'll be able to do so fairly quickly. I do want to talk about, let's really quickly just kind of look. So we were talking about Vex earlier, right? Let's just look at these team comps and see which champions are going to be affected by Vex. Well, we've got Ornn, Jarvan, Ezreal, Gnar, Graves, and Amumu. So all of those will be affected by Vex.
Except Ezreal. Ezreal is a blink. It's a blink.
It's a blink? It doesn't count as a dash?
I don't believe so. I believe blinks are coded differently for...
Blinks are different. Okay, so Ezreal would not be counted to that, so that's probably a decent counter to a Vex. We will probably be seeing Vex in the mid lane. I do think that she's going to be pretty interesting. I like her a lot. Another thing to keep in mind is that when Worlds does come up, because we brought it up, Akshan will be disabled. He is not going to be played at all throughout the entirety of Worlds. He's going to be not play because he just doesn't have enough playtime, essentially. They asked the players, hey, do you want Akshan available during groups? And they're like, nah. So they're like, okay, he just won't be available for Worlds.
Yeah, frankly, I just don't really agree with Riot's decision on it in this matter. They're almost consistently putting out a new champion directly before Worlds, and it doesn't matter how impactful they're expected to be. They did the exact same thing with Yone last year, and they will ban the champion for the entirety of the league when you have the entire tournament to see if the champion is appropriate, and even with play-ins that's going to be happening. So I really think that they should just allow some of these champions, especially some that are not even going to be played. Akshan, there's no way Akshan's being played in the World Championships. There's no way.
Well, yeah, no, the reason they do that is because of competitive integrity, essentially. They don't want to have to force players to be limit testing in a competitive setting. It's the same reason why we delay all of the major changes to champions by 2 weeks, except for this current patch 11.18, because it's such a unique patch where they just decided, hey, we're going to change a bunch of stuff. We're going to give Jarvan or Draven an execute on his ultimate, because why not? It's not like he needs extra ways to kill you. It's not like he has the highest damage as an ADC.
Yeah, that execute on the ultimate is a really interesting change. Frankly,
I love it
because it can start. Yeah, it can execute at such a high threshold, like getting up to. It's not that hard on Draven to get 500 to 700 stacks, maybe even 1,000 if you're really not getting any kills. So I do expect Draven, if people are a fan of him, and even if they're not, I do think he's going to be appearing at the World Championship quite a bit, and he is one of the more interesting champions to watch because of how mechanically challenging he is for an AD carry.
Yeah, and I know that I've already seen him way more in my solo queue games than I expected, which is really exciting, just because I think Draven as a champion is really interesting. Personally, I think, I know that I was talking about Vex being anti-mobility, but I feel like that's because that's a very specific thing that League has. I love the changes they gave to Soraka and to Singed involving grievous wounds, where Singed gets it on his ultimate now, and Soraka gets rid of it on hers. It's a way to just provide more uniqueness to these champions, I think, that is really awesome and really fun to see, because yes, it makes the game more difficult and more frustrating to play in some ways because you have to learn so much more, but it just gives you so many more options and so many more tools that you can use to kind of get creative. Of course, if you do that in one champion, you end up with Akshan, who's got a completely
Yes.
overloaded kit that requires a doctorate degree to learn and study and know.
Yeah, Riot's been doing that a lot recently, but it's interesting that you would bring up creativity because I think that's a fantastic point. There is a lot of creativity in certain avenues, but there isn't any in others. There's a lot of champions that are flying really heavy under the radar and aren't being picked just because they may not be as fun as some of the other options. Like right now, Soraka is probably one of the most obscenely broken champions in the game, in both support and solo lanes. And I do know some. If you're an LS fan, you play her bot. But either or, she is ridiculous. And just because she has a boring kit, she's not played. And that even applies to like some of the 80 carries now, where I think Twitch is one of the ones who's going to coming up really, really heavily, as that ultimate steroid is one of the highest in the game, and he just is two-shotting people.
Yes, it's gross. It's really, 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 really strong. It's going to be interesting to see what they kind of changes they bring out in 11.19, because they have said that that is going to be the patch where they decide to dial some stuff back and maybe bump some stuff up even more, just because they're kind of using this as the testing ground sort of thing. Another ADC, if we're talking about ADCs, another ADC I like seeing a lot that we don't see a lot in game would be Jinx. I think that a very powerful mid laner or a very powerful bot laner that allows you to just execute a lot of influence around the map. It really allows you to kind of, like, as you hit that late game, get those towers bursted down if you need to, because you just weren't able to get them earlier, and provides a lot of good team fight utility.
Yeah, it's just Jinx is just so hard right now because even though she does have extremely long range, she just has so much mobility. Riot has given literally every champion in the game a dash, and the ones who don't have obscene damage. So it's really snuffing out some of the champions that are very, very good. Like, because Caldwell is still completely playable. Like he's still very, very strong, and he has some of the same issues with Jinx where he just is just too vulnerable in team fights, and it's really, really on the 80 carry skill level to make it work in. Frankly, this 80 carries often just default to some that are slightly easier to play or have simpler mechanics.
Very much so. We're actually going to go ahead and take a quick break here, just because it looks like we might be having a little bit of a longer pause than initially anticipated. So stick around. We will be right back.
I'm gonna have to bust it.
And we are back live with the game, and let's see where we're at. Tiger Heart has disconnected and shall reconnect here shortly. In the meantime, we have Joshi just trying to take advantage of the whole situation and hitting that top lane turret, just bashing his skull against it. Looks like he's doing a pretty good job of it. Rafa clearing himself some wards in the bot side river. Found, how are you doing after that little break?
Absolutely, I'm doing quite well. It's nice to have a little break in between the game, get a little cup of coffee, a spot of tea. But now that we're back, this game it has been spiraling really heavy into Rex Regales' favor. 7,000 gold already, so hopefully Chris's SEAL team Chris used that time to come up with a strategy for what they're gonna do when they do get everyone back in the game, and see if they can manage to pull off something, some type of miracle.
Actually, you are not technically supposed to strategize about a game during a pause, because it's just the way the rules are technically organized. So you can talk about whatever. Most teams just opt to be a little bit quiet. I like what we've got going on right here. Poor Trulax. He doesn't know what's about to happen. It's, oh no. Oh no, no, no. Oh no! That poor Jarvan. Poor Lord of Demacia didn't have a chance. Look at that Gnar getting in the wall, getting a nice stun off, and that's going to be Zenzen picking up a kill on Songo. Ow!
God, it's so disgusting.
That's the pain.
This
Just
should
show
be
some
illegal.
mercy.
Like, oh god, where's Smurf Q out when you need it?
It's definitely a little bit of a tricky situation for STC to deal with right about here. That is going to be top turret going down as we see STC trying to give themselves a little bit of pressure, trying to relieve this bleeding. Blue team is going to be able to take that Drake. They're going to be picking up this Ocean Drake, and they're going to put themselves on Soul Point. Ocean Soul coming up here momentarily. Lightning Soul knows that we've got Rafa over here, but is trying to get the bubble off. Doesn't quite hit it. Rafa able to clear this off, getting a nice bit of vision denial right there, as they're able to blind them, get this bot turret taken down. And that is just going to be the rest of this game getting absolutely shredded. Oh, no. Ooh, Joshi with the text right there. That was an interesting interaction I didn't know was possible with Gnar. Better take some notes.
Yep, absolutely. If anyone's confused what just happened there, you can use your R at any point in the Gnar jump when you're coming down or up. So very well done. One of the most famous plays in the
Ooh, Chain of Corruption hitting the Orianna in the back line, threading that needle, managing to get off on a couple of different targets, getting multiple procs of the chain. That is going to be Ornn getting taken down, as well as he just gets absolutely shredded by the passive from those blighted arrows. It's just absolutely devastating. Good knockup by Trulax in order to try and deny Joshi some escape, but doesn't quite lock him under tower.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the Tiger Heart taking their first trip into the Death Chamber as Gohan's taking much damage.
Look at that! So much damage, and that bandage toss, its range is honestly ridiculous. With the speed at which it travels, that's one of the reasons why it's so slow, but it can just hit you from like half screen away.
Yeah, it's raining mummies, as once again, another really good bandage toss is going to pick up another kill. Rafa is going to get some good counter juggling out and smiting over the wall. So, geez, it's just so rough right now. The avenues for the comeback for SEAL Team Chris is so low that you have to wonder where they're going to need to find any advantages, because it looks like at this point Rex is just getting everything they could possibly want.
You know, I'm having a little bit of a deja vu moment right now as we're watching this game play out. And I know that UB had their loss later in the season, but at the same time, it seems that Rex is currently on the exact same trajectory, going for a near perfect season as we start hitting into the second half of the split.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, this is the way they've been playing right now. I don't know who.
Ooh, Joshi jumping over the wall, getting Jarvan, getting him locked down. There's absolutely nowhere for him to go. He knew that he was just waiting on the walls and gets a lot of damage out before he's able to get away. We have McChunks looking for the cheeky arrow as he was planning to aim it at Jarvan. Almost manages to hit him, and that's going to be Rift Herald going over to Rex. They might be able to burst this down fairly quickly. They've only got about 20 seconds left to do it, though. Oh yeah, they'll get it just fine.
Yeah, that was the empowered arrow from the Varus. Tons of damage can come out of that, especially if you have some stacks on you.
Ooh, nice vision hit. getting it on the split. You got another one right there, just constantly poking Songo out. We got Tigerheart coming in with the Oran Horn. It gets knocked off. We see that there's a nice knock up right there as Graves is having to flash away. Rafa trying to get himself to safety at the same time as Why You Know Doctor. The rest of STC is trying to get a good angle on this, but they just don't have the damage, don't have the health bars, as Rex just decides to go in. We have a flash by McChunks right into Oran's face, hitting him with a point blank corruption. The life form disintegration ray finally picks up a kill, as we see Zen getting himself something good for himself. There we go, lots more damage coming out, and there's going to be a dash out of the Ezreal to get away, and that is going to be yet another turret going over to Rex Regalis, and that is going to be mid turret and probably inhibitor going down as well. Gohan, you are so low, my friend. You should just back up and let this fall.
Oh my God, they're just getting blasted. And you said this is going to be the end hit, but I think this might be the game because Rift is up and available.
I completely forgot about them having Scully and that they were going to be able to get this extra hit. That is going to be a double hit right here. We're going to see a second charge onto the Nexus turret. That Nexus turret's going to go down. That is going to be the Tidecaller coming out. Are we going to see the Scully dance? I don't know. We see the Nexus getting peppered. We see the rest of Rex getting a lot of damage off, and we've got a dancing Scully to finish off the game.
Oh my God, 20 minutes on the clock, 19 kills picked up as Rex Regalis is going to smash it. And that is probably one of the most dominant games we've ever seen in FOF. Give them credit where it is due. Fantastic play for Rex Regalis.
A 20-minute and 45-second game is the record for FS Season 4. We have not had a game quite that quickly. I believe the next closest was like 24 minutes, just a little over. So with that, Rex has definitely secured themselves. They basically saw the lounge and were like, okay, we got to get Sharigan to shut up, and we got to get him to actually be able to, you know, we know we're at top. We know we're at the top. We're the kings for a reason, and they're right. They have definitely proven that today.
Yeah, frankly, this league is shaping out to be extremely close with some of our top teams. Rex Regalis, Terracotta on the other end. You still have INT. I believe we still have Yubi in another bracket also, so... just getting the opportunity to see these teams play each other is going to be fantastic because these guys have been performing, and it doesn't seem to matter who they're playing against. They're putting out immaculate performance consistently.
INT, RLS, you guys have got some fierce competition, and I don't know if you're up for it. It's going to be really exciting to see those upcoming matches. Everyone, with that, we're going to be taking a quick break, and we'll be right back with our final interview of the day. This is Sharigan signing out. Found, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Other than it's always an honor to be a part of this broadcast. Everyone puts in so much work, and I cannot thank our producer Chris, who did just get blasted in that game, but he's been a great person to everybody, and you know, give him some credit, pat him on the back because he's been doing everything for us, and thank you so much for having this chance to be a part of this.
Absolutely. We will be right back with a quick interview. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here for the final interview of the night, and I'm joined by Joshi, the victorious top laner from Rex Regalis. How are you feeling after the win?
Well, feeling pretty good. I knew that we were going to be favored going into this. I did not think we were going to be this favored. 20-minute victory at the very end. I know Mark was just saying, like, let's see if we can just end faster than we normally would, because normally we'll drag these games out and just make sure we have a 0% chance of ever losing. Today we're like, you know what? 95% is good enough.
Yeah, after the 20-minute pause, I think just getting it done was the right choice. I appreciate it a lot. So
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's
everybody in chat, you're welcome. This could have been another like 10-15 minutes if we played normally. This is for you guys.
This like, I think like all the talent on this team like knows what it's like to be a caster and be stuck in the pause of death for 11 years. So I appreciate you paying us back. Make sure we don't have to suffer too long of a game after that. Let's talk about this game. So in this draft, you folks pulled out an awesome, fun draft. The mummy support since Why You Know Doctor didn't get the Thresh. You got the Vel'Koz in the mid lane. And then somehow, some way, Joshi Gnar is inevitable. It just happens every time. How does it happen?
Look, I honestly don't know. I think people think that they can counter it, and I'll be straight up, there are a couple champions that I really struggle against, and if anybody can figure those out, you might be able to punish it, but people are trying to prepare counter picks to it, and there's a reason that this champion is one of like my best champions, and I have probably like twice as many games on this champion as anybody else over the past like 6 years, and also like he's just blind pickable in pro is because there aren't a lot of counter picks to this champion. I will go even in lane or better, and I think Anti is one who is saying, like, Joshi isn't a laning god. I'm not a laning god. But if I go even, I'm going to outperform you in every single team fight, and people aren't able to deal with that yet.
And I noticed that you're playing the Gnar. You did not go for the old school Divine Thunder. Can you give me some insight? I'm not a top laner. Can you give me some insight on the Triforce that you pulled out instead?
I'm gonna be straight up. Divine Thunder sucks on Gnar. People are still building it even at the pro level, and I've been experimenting with it for a long time. It outperforms against tanks because tanks can't hit you. It outperforms against squishies because you do more damage because it's just based on your raw damage. And it gives you much higher bursts. So the only time you ever want to build Divine Thunder is if you need the sustain in really long, drawn-out fights. So it's performing statistically better. I prefer it. It's just the better item right now.
Well, you definitely put it to great effectiveness here. You had no deaths here. You picked up 3 kills.
Four. If you look at the end of the game, when the Nexus explodes, it says 4. I will stand by that.
I mean, you can say it all you want, man. I mean, it's gonna have an asterisk. That's all I'm saying. It's an asterisk 4. So
at the end of the year, I am like 0.01 short of the KDA leaderboard. I'm gonna come back to this game and look at all you. This is looking at you, utility monster. I know you update that shit.
All right, well, let's talk about the game. It was pretty much a startling running over of them, although it didn't pop off immediately. But once the snowball started, there was absolutely no stopping it. Where did you feel like the game really went off the rails and it was truly in your favor?
So ultimately, we called out at the beginning of the game that we are even to favored in the top half of the map, and where the game is likely to break is going to be in the bottom. And I don't know how this happened. I still need to go back and watch the tapes, but Mr. Chunks and Doc got a kill at level 1. And I don't know where you really come back from there, because our coach Smax was helping us out a little bit before the game. He said there are 2 win conditions for the enemy team that they're really playing for. 1, they get really good engages and onto our backline, so Varus and Vel'Koz just die instantly. And 2, Ezreal gets 4 kills. We shut down that first one before the game had even really started. And once we have that advantage and Amumu is strong and we can get him into the mid game, we just said, hey, wait until level 6, and then we're just going to take fight after fight after fight because we're going to be ahead. We're both playing wombo combo comps, and if we start the fights, we will always get our combo out before they do.
As someone who was watching the game from the observer perspective, I can tell you that basically how that kill went down was it was just a little bit of Mr. Chunks poking, and then it was a waddle gap from Why You Know Doctor, just waddling up, just hitting him with the cues straight to the face. So it was just by the books, you know, exactly as they drew it up. Now,
yeah, all 4 feet of Doc walking up. Thank you, Doc.
Shouts out to Doc. Now, there was the exceptionally long pause to make us wait on bated breath. How did you folks pass the time?
Well, honestly, at that point, there were 2 things that we did. One, we tried to figure out how much gold we were ahead, and Doc, the one person on the team who is not a caster, was actually closest. Most of us thought we were somewhere like 4 to 5k. He was like, nah, I think we're at least 6. That was the first discussion we had. The second one was we've been getting really into mashups recently. So the first thing that I did was a while back, one of my caster buddies named Kangas introduced me to this mashup with Aha and Kendrick Lamar called Take on Backseat. I'm not going to say pull it up on the stream right now, but go up on like your side YouTube, take a listen to it. It is some of the best mashup music you've ever heard. And then in order to make sure that Doc was sufficiently tilted, because he's Korean, we had to put in as many Gangnam style remixes as we possibly could in the chat, and he threatened to quit, and then he threatened to kick Mr. Chunks off the team so that we could play a 4v4 if their top laner didn't come back, but ultimately he decided to stick it out, so if he can finish the game quickly, he can go play New World.
Well, all I gotta say to Why You Know Doctor is we do have a player association. Feel free to reach out. This stuff doesn't have to be tolerated. Someone is here to listen to you. So, well, it sounds like you guys made the best of it. It sounds like a good time. This was obviously just another day at the office for you folks to clean up, and you advance to 7-1 at the end of the week. So, Joshi, thanks so much for joining us again. And do you have any final thoughts before we step away for the evening?
Yeah, I want to call out Sherigan real quick because he says that we're still not the best team in the league. 20-minute game. I don't know how much better we can do. We had some scuff dives earlier, but we had some pretty good dives today. We do have hands. I promise you. We're at the top now. We're gonna stay at the top. Other than that, I want to give a shout out to all the teammates that we have. It's been great playing with you guys. Thanks for embarking on this journey to knock UB down a peg, and thank you to Smacks, who's stepped up a lot as our coach. We had initially put everybody on as kind of a meme, but he's starting to take it a little bit more seriously, and I think it's helping us out quite a bit.
Awesome. Well, Joshi, thanks again for the interview. Folks, that's it for us for the evening. We will be back on Monday with our Luna League, so please check us out Monday, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. That's it for me on the interview desk. That's it for us here at Friend or Foe tonight. Everyone, enjoy your weekends and be well.
Bye-bye.